This is not just a Christmas cake. This is 15 years of my family's history all baked into one recipe. For 15 years my family has made this exact same British Christmas cake. It's a tradition that's seen us through everything, and today I'm not just showing you how to make it, I'm sharing the story of why it means so much. A recipe is just a list of instructions, right? But a tradition, that's a story you get to live and taste year after year. For us, the Christmas season doesn't officially begin with lights or carols. It begins with the scent of fruit and spice, and with a recipe that feels less like a document and more like a collective memory. Every family tradition has to start somewhere, and ours begins with a young version of myself buying magazines as my little treat. It was inside one of the magazines I used to enjoy leafing through, a gift booklet of Christmas recipes dropped out, and the recipe of the cake jumped out at me. Just what I'd been looking for. It's not just any recipe, it's a treasure from another time, stained with the ghosts of Christmas past, a dusting of flour here, a smudge of butter there. It was my mother who had always baked the Christmas cake, from when I was a small child. She never bought one. I remember the smell of spices filling the house with their cakey aroma, and the spices screamed Christmas is on its way. So when I grew up and moved into my own house, I wanted to bring that memory with me, that festive feeling into my kitchen. Her recipe was huge, about a 12-inch square and a 3-inch high cake, way too big for me. And like many fledglings, I wanted my own version, and so a Christmas magazine treat provided that version for me. A Christmas cake is all about abundance, and the ingredients themselves are pretty symbolic. The huge quantity of dried fruits like currants, sultanas and raisins represents a bountiful harvest and a sense of gratitude. The warm, fragrant spices, cinnamon and allspice, are said to symbolise the gifts brought by the kings, each one an exotic treasure. Did you know that in Yorkshire they serve Christmas cake with cheese? Not tried it myself. Let me know below if you would try it out. Our recipe starts, as many do, with the fruit. Nearly a kilo of it goes into a large bowl. This is where you can personalise it if you wish. You can see my currants, raisins and mixed peel, plus my essential glacé cherries. I halve them to distribute them better and have a lower chance of them sinking to the bottom. And then the dates, also chopped, but this could be dried apricots, prunes or sultanas. Little jewels glinting, unmistakably like Christmas. The mixed nuts are chopped up and added too. Wholemeal plain flour adds a nod of desperation towards the healthy, as straight after adding the warming spices of cinnamon and allspice, I add the sugar. A light raw muscovado to add depth and that toffee-like taste from the molasses still within. Vanilla and orange zest add to the beautiful smells wafting around the kitchen. And lastly, the melted butter or marge and 5 beaten eggs to bring it all together. The eggs are our raising agent. The funny thing is, the recipe has developed into my recipe. It is different in places to that which is now written down, but muscle memory kicks in, and I just do it every Christmas. I also started with a half recipe, but as the family grew, I now do the full cake. The batter is ready. This isn't a light, airy sponge. It's a dense, heavy, reassuringly solid mixture. We use a deep, round cake tin that we line carefully with layers of baking parchment. I like to trap the parchment. This step is a simple hack. It prevents the cake from getting burnt on its long, slow bake while the centre cooks through. We smooth the surface, and you can make a slight dip in the middle, a little trick to ensure the cake rises evenly without a big dome. Or you can look at my hack in a little bit, which is slightly different. The fruit cake bakes low and slow for around 4 hours. The house fills with the most incredible smell, a warm, sweet, spicy perfume that clings to everything and announces that Christmas is well and truly on its way, and sparks my childhood memories every time. The slow bake is what marries all the flavours together. Once it's out of the oven and cooled, the next phase begins, the maturing. Baking early allows the flavour to mature and deepen, becoming more complex with each passing week. Some bakers start their cakes 2 or 3 months in advance, but our tradition is about 4 weeks, as we do not add alcohol. It's a slow, deliberate act of care that builds up so much anticipation for the day when we finally get to slice into it. I want a flat cake to decorate, and my tip is no matter what shape your cake ended up, this should work. Flip it over and use the bottom as your top. No one will know, and now your cake, marzipan and icing will be perfectly smooth. This cake is so much more than a recipe. It's a story we retell every year. If you have a family recipe or a tradition that tells your story, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if you're enjoying this journey, please consider subscribing. It lets me know you're here and want to see more stories like this one. 15 years of baking the same cake means you rack up a lot of stories. Over the years, we have lost people, and we've gained people. I met my husband. We had children, all through which this cake was constant. Then there was the Christmas of 2020, when the whole family couldn't all be together. We still made the cake, but we cut the cake, and we delivered the cake to bring us all closer together. Now this has become a new tradition of taking the second half of the cake to the Boxing Day get-together. Looking back at old photos, the cake is a constant. It's on the table for the first Christmas with a new baby. It's sat beside towering piles of presents and been the centrepiece of quieter, reflective Christmases. It's like a tangible timeline of our family's life, a silent witness to our joys and a comforting presence in our sorrows. The tradition has become an anchor, something steady and reliable in a world that's always changing. About a week before Christmas, it's time for the final act, decorating. I like to make it different each year, with no planning, may I add, very spontaneous. Stay to the end if you would like to see some of the previous year's decorations. Some of them are quite flamboyant. A traditional British Christmas cake gets 2 layers. First marzipan, then usually royal icing. My mum used to do this, but I like to use fondant icing, which has become more usual in the UK. We start by brushing the whole cake with jam, which acts as a glue for the marzipan. Traditionally this should be apricot, but I always make plum jam from plums from a tree in our garden, so we use that instead. It makes sense, and it's delicious. Rolling out the marzipan is always a quiet time, while everyone is at school or work. I roll them between 2 pieces of parchment paper to give us a flat, easily transferable, mouldable sheet. And it doesn't stick to the rolling pins or cutting boards then. Can you tell this has happened once upon a time? The 2 ways you can get to do this is bashing and rolling, and I will show you the other with the fondant icing. I like to keep my cake neutral these days, especially when you think of all the colouring added to today's foods. The decoration is usually simple. We let the cake itself be the star, but different every year. Seeing the finished cake is a climax of weeks of work, a moment of pride and joy. Everyone enjoys taking a peek before it's stored away for the big day. And then finally it's Christmas Day. After the meal, the cake is brought to the table. That first slice is always a moment of quiet reverence. You see the cross-section of all that history, the dark jewel-toned fruit, the pale layer of marzipan and the crisp white icing. The taste is everything Christmas should be, rich, complex, deeply comforting and steeped in memory. This cake is more than a dessert, it's a tradition that runs through our family Christmas of togetherness. It's a promise we make each year to slow down, to come together and to symbolise the beginning of the festive season. It's love and continuity you can actually taste. 15 years in, and I can't imagine a Christmas without it. And I hope, many years from now, a new generation will be gathered around the same recipe, adding their own stories and their own memories. Thank you for sharing this piece of our history with me.